So we are here with Sue Phillips today at her Bespoke. And Sue Phillips is what I consider to be quite a trailblazer in the sense of she has done a phenomenal job of creating fragrances, but it's deeper than that, right?
Yes.
It's deeper in the sense of I was looking at her book, and I will read this in full detail. The Power of Perfume, and what does that mean? You know, and you've written so many different chapters, so many different perspectives. One that caught my eye is beware of what men don't like, or the smell. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But some of the things that you've done, you created fragrances for Tiffany,
Yes.
Burberry,
Yes.
Lancome.
Yes.
I have to know, how did you get started?
Well, I will give you the snapshot version because I could be here all day and tell you. Yesterday was my huge anniversary in America, 46 years since I arrived from South Africa. And I was a singer and an actress, and I came to America and they said, forget it, we have 25,000 out-of-work singers and actresses, we don't need another one. So I went to a headhunter, he processed my green card, and because I could stand up in front of people and speak, when I went to the headhunter, I got 3 job offers in 1 week. One was to be in banking, not for me. One was to be in fashion. At that time, we were so fashion backwards in South Africa because of the apartheid laws, and we were excommunicated from the world. So I didn't think I knew anything about fashion. Today is a different story. And then the 3rd job offer was to go to Elizabeth Arden, and I thought that was a great correlation between fragrance and showbiz and theater. And because I could stand up in front of people and speak, I became the national training director. So I was at Elizabeth Arden for 2 years in training, then product development and marketing. Then Lancome hired me as marketing director for fragrance and men's skincare. And then Tiffany hired me as executive vice president. You know, Hannah, if you'd have told me growing up in South Africa that I would have this, that I'd be in the fragrance world, that I would have created so many iconic fragrances for brands, I'd say, you're crazy. But this is America. And if you work hard and you're passionate, you can do things.
Anything is possible. Yeah. So, you know, you are, at least in my opinion, I feel that in the industry that you're in, is it more male dominant, or do you feel, because I feel like you created your own lane?
It's a very interesting question. The cosmetics industry is an industry basically for women. I mean, 70% of products are sold and for women and bought by women, but it's dominated by men. And I cannot tell you how many times when I was traveling for Elizabeth Arden, going to hotels, checking in, and the concierge would say, okay, Miss Phillips, you're in room 492, enjoy your stay. And I would get calls at 2 and 3 in the morning from people who'd heard my name and heard the voice, the number. And so I just landed up going in. When I checked in, I'd say, do not say my name, do not say my hotel number, just give me my key card. And you learn to put up those kinds of walls and defenses because of survival. I think the industry has changed. I think millennials have changed it so much now that more and more millennials are men and women, girls and boys. You know, the whole sort of diversity situation has become really wonderful, that it's not as polarized as it was. And even the terms, you know, fragrances pour homme, fragrances pour femme, for men, for women, are becoming less used because they're marketing terms. I always like to say there's no such thing as ingredients for women and ingredients for men, or a male banana or a female peach. Ingredients are ingredients and should be used and enjoyed by everybody. Roses, florals, woodsy, spices. It's not a question of gender, it's a question of beauty. So that's my sort of feeling about fragrances, that should be for everybody, not just gender specific.
So you wrote this book, The Power of Perfume.
Yes.
And some of the chapters, as I was looking through it, are very in depth. It's not just the fragrance, it's deeper. Talk to me about that.
I've always felt that fragrance, and studies have proven that our sense of smell is our most powerful sense. Why? Because it connects memory and emotion, goes right from the olfactory to the limbic system, and also smell and taste. And it's something that when you feel something and you're with somebody, or you have a fragrance in the air, and when you smell that again, those emotions are triggered by fragrance. So it's really, really powerful. You know, just the fact that so many people have lost their sense of smell because of COVID accelerated such an awareness of anosmia. You know, anosmia is not new. It's happened for centuries. People have lost their sense of smell either through viral problems or for colds, accidents, neural problems. But COVID accelerated the awareness. And I cannot tell you how many people I met with who came to me, and we do these scent healing journeys, and they weep when they can smell again. And I do too, because it's so powerful and so emotional. So for me, you know, fragrance is, I like to say, perfume is the signature of your soul. And it's very powerful.
Honestly, I feel like this is such a transformation for people to come in here and experience what you have brought to life. And I was so excited and nervous at the same time to come in today and meet with you. I did a little research of my own. And of course, I went to the website and I was just blown away by all the different things that I saw. And I took the scent quiz.
Oh, good.
And I sat with my family and did it. And as each question came through, I could imagine, you know, creating the scent of my choice. I could imagine, you know, when it asked where's one of your favorite places to be, you know, do you like the smell of mahogany? I think was one of the questions. Even the art questions. And I thought, wow, what a creative way to really understand your audience, your client, so that when they're doing the scent quiz, you are ready when they come in, and you know more about them than they may. You know, I just thought it was very fascinating.
So it's interesting because I see the results, and I saw Hannah, and of course at that time I didn't know who you were. Now I know who you are. Now I'm really going to look at the scent results. But the reason I do a scent quiz is to really understand somebody's persona and their lifestyle. So there's only really one fragrance question on the quiz. Everything is more lifestyle driven. And even if you look around here, you'll see all the artwork was actually my mother's. My mother did everything. Wow. So I come from a background of art and music and culture, and my dad was a businessman, so I have both skill sets. But the reason I ask all those questions about art and music and seasons is to get a feeling online in 12 questions about a client's, you know, preferences, and it's hard. But the fact that I'm able to typically look at those results and then figure out what type of olfactory preference they are is quite amazing. I've only had 3 or 4 times in my career where I've I got it wrong. One was because a woman's name was Sean, S-E-A-N. Now that could be a man or a woman. And so the results came out, and it skewed very sort of sporty and fresh. So I made it a little bit more sporty. How do I do that? Certain ingredients tend to be a little bit more masculine, even though I know that there are no such things as masculine and feminine ingredients. The common perception is that men like sporty. So I did a little more of a sporty spin on it. And the comments came back when I wrote, and I said, how'd you like your fragrance? And the person said, oh, it was awful. It was way too masculine. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm hearing a voice. You're a female, obviously. She says, yes. I recreated it for her, sent it to her, and she loved it. So I know how to spin something that would be for men and for women. And interestingly enough, different cultures like different fragrance preferences. So in America, everything is fresh and clean. Everybody wants to be fresh and clean because we've deodorized ourselves to such an extent. South Americans love spicy. Europeans love floral. English love lavender. And the Middle East love oud. So it's really interesting that, and even think about even food choices. You know, certain cultures love spicy food. Certain cultures like very bland food. So it's really interesting how food and flavor can really actually almost be symbiotic with, you know, who
Mm-hmm.
you are with your fragrance preferences.
I just found it very creative that
Thank you.
it's experiential because you're taking the time. This separates coming in here, being with you. I'm able to see the other side. You know, we can go to a store and purchase a fragrance, but this is really more experiential. It's more intimate, and I would much rather come here with you and do it this way than walk into a store and try to figure out what do I really like? What
Right.
am I looking for? Because often someone will come up and say, "Would you like to test this?" And of course, you say yes.
Yes.
But when they say, "What is it that you're looking for?" I always say, "Well, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't
Exactly.
know."
Exactly.
You know, so once they've done the scent quiz, when they come in, what is the next step?
Okay. So firstly, welcome them. We'd give them, show them the scent quiz, and then show them this olfactory chart to really let them understand the different olfactive families. You know, I like to correlate it with music. In music, you have 8 notes, an octave. Think about those 8 notes and the magnificent music that has been written over the centuries. Classic, rock, opera, you know, folk, jazz, from those 8 notes. And then you think about art, that, you know, 3 primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. Think about how you get the secondary and the tertiary colors. And out of those 3 colors, magnificent works of art have been created. So with fragrance, we have 8 main families. And those 8 main families are responsible for these beautiful creations. So I give them an overview, and then we go through the scent quiz, and then I take them on a fragrance journey to show them all my 18 perfume blends. And each perfume blend is a perfume. Each one is, you know, fine for men and women. And we go through the journey, and then I say to them, the ones that you love, put on the left for like or love. The blends you're not so sure, put in the middle for maybe. And the ones you don't like, put on the right for reject. And invariably, 9 out of 10 times, people have many, many more likes. But then when they actually go through them again and they start to combine 1, 2, 3, and 4, put these blends together, which are something like this, these blotter strips. We use blotter strips. When you evaluate one and then you evaluate a second and then you put them together and you see how they combine, it becomes something very different. And then you add a third or a fourth. So I always say, use up to 3 or 4 of these blotter strips for your fragrance, because if you use a bunch of them, it becomes too soupy. It's not distinctive enough. So we go through the experience, they go through the blends, they select the 3 or 4 that they love, they get to name it, and they get to choose their atomizer color of their choice. And it takes about an hour to an hour and a half. And it's been fun, interactive, educational, experiential, and entertaining.
Oh, I love that. Entertaining. I love that. A lot of people don't realize how hard women work behind the scenes to make the front end look so incredible. It's a lot of work, and I see that. And I'm so honored and grateful that you came to meet with me today and allowed us to come in and be a part of this. It's beautiful.
I'm the one who's honored that you took the time to come to meet me. Yes.
I really imagined, I thought, you know, if I was going to create a fragrance, what would I call it? And when I was looking through all the different social media posts that you've shared and just the different magazine articles and how people have written about you, one word stands out to me the most: innovative, talented.
Thank you.
And so I have to say, I'm just thoroughly, you know, amazed and honored.
Well, I really thank you for that, Hannah. You know, I think a couple of things about me. And I used to be an adjunct professor at FIT College and LIM College. I've been an expert witness. When I teach and my students, you know, I always say to them, find something you love. Really become passionate. Don't just become a doctor or a lawyer because your parents want you to follow that route. Find something you truly love, because look, there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be difficulties. There's always going to be times when you have money or when you don't have money, or when things work out or they don't work out. So there will always be challenges, but if you really love what you do, then those challenges will dissipate and you'll just navigate your way through them. So I've always had that sort of situation. I never give up. I follow my passion. People say to me, Sue, you're the hardest working person. I guess it shows. I work hard. But then somebody said to me the other day, don't say you work hard, just say you work productively. So now I'm saying, okay, I'm being productive. I'm being very productive.
I love it.
And the truth is that everything that you see here is, a culmination of all the things that I've done, my acting, my singing, my teaching, my expert witness, my product development, my writing. And I'm thrilled and so happy and proud that I've been able to do this. And moreover, through my passion, help people. Because that's been amazing, to really help people regain their sense of smell.
I think I really agree, but I also find talking to you, you're very humble. And we've done so many different interviews with so many different women, and you can tell when someone is truly passionate about what they do and really invested. And I see that. So you did recently receive an award. I saw this incredible picture of you on social media, of course. Tell me about that.
Well, that was so exciting, and I'm so honored. So I've known this man, Andy, from the UN, and he's part of the China delegation for many, many years, about 10 years. And we've been friends. I've done events with them at the UN. And I saw him at an event when I came back from Dubai, and we've been in touch. And he said, Sue, I want to give you an award. Me, an award? Well, okay, what? He said, for International Women's Day. And I was so excited because I thought that was great. And it was at one of the wonderful restaurants where they have the meetings. And it was very exciting. And he's a sort of sweetheart and gave me an honor. And then the next week as well. So International Women's Month is a whole month. And this was 2 events that they honored me at. And I wore my crown because I was in January, I was given an award for Women of Achievement, and it was a crown and a pageant, a sash.
I saw that.
And I said, look, I'm not into pageants. I'm not a beauty queen. Do not do this. I'm not interested. Anyway, I got the crown and I got the sash. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll wear this thing after all.
Well, I thought it was a great photo. So yeah, so what I want to do is I'm going to go through the book. I'll read it. I'm a huge reader.
Yes, and it's an easy read. It's not a heavy tome. The chapters are fun. They're easy to read. Well, I'm very excited because actually, because of the work that I've done with COVID and anosmia, a neuroscientist reached out to me and said she wanted to write and co-author a book with me. Can you imagine a neuroscientist contacting me to write a book?
I'm not surprised, honestly.
Well, I was so flattered because I'm not a scientist and I'm not a perfumer. I'm a passionate fragrance lover. In order to become a perfumer, you have to study organic chemistry for about 5 years. So I've never studied organic chemistry, but have known, being in the industry and understanding how fragrances are created, I'm kind of a quasi perfumer, but she's going to write from the neuroscientific standpoint, and I'll write from the olfactory standpoint. And just the experience and how many people have literally lost their sense of smell and their experiences with anosmia. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited to read it. I think that's incredible. I'm looking forward to hearing about it and reading it and learning more. So what is next for you?
Well, after 46 years of being here, and most people retire at this stage of their lives, I honestly feel I'm just beginning. And 6 months ago, I got a LinkedIn correspondence from somebody who said, we'd like to talk to you. And I looked through the link, and there was something to do with crypto. And I wrote back, I said, no, not interested in crypto. He said, no, not interested in crypto. We're interested in you. We think you can be the Joe Malone of America. I said, well, I'd like to be the Sue Phillips of the world.
I love that.
So we're making a plan and the project, and I'll be going global. I'm working on new Sue Phillips fragrances, and it'll be Sue Phillips fragrances, not just the customization, but really a Sue Phillips brand. Now that I'm really excited
Well, congratulations.
about. And, having that kind of legacy to leave. But, in a way, it's a culmination of everything that I've done to capture the essence of, what I've done in bottles or in a bottle. So that's exciting.
What an incredible accomplishment. How do you do all this? Do you sleep?
No. And the other reason I was a little late today is I'm in a play. So I've gone back to my roots, my acting roots. In the book, you'll see I was 10 years old when I did my first play. It's a Broadway type play called Roar Like a Dove.
Wow.
And I got the acting bug. So naturally, I used to sing, and I went to college to study acting. And that's when I came to America to want to be an actress. And they said, oh, we have 20,000 out-of-work actresses. We don't need another one. And so 5 or 6 years ago, a friend of mine, unbeknownst to me at the time, was in the industry, was a playwright. We used to have breakfast 3 or 4 times a year. When we catch up, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, I'm back to playwriting. I said, you're back to playwriting? I'm an actress. He said, you're an actress? I said, yes. So we connected, and there was a theater group that used to meet every Tuesday night before the pandemic. And it would be wonderful. I'd get back to my acting roots. Then, of course, the pandemic came, so now everything is on Zoom. So we meet on Zoom. But I'm excited to say this week, I'm actually in a play off Broadway, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I play Eve in a very sinfully delicious evil comedy about Adam and Eve and the serpent.
Wow. Where would we find?
It's on, I'll give you the flyer.
Okay.
It's this week, Thursday, the 23rd till the 26th. 1 show on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. So I've been rehearsing in between doing my fragrances and meeting with people and doing interviews. And I love the fact that I'm so productive. I'm not busy. I'm productive.
So you must be very good at time management.
Not really.
No. So how is it? I know that you're a mother.
Yes.
And how did you fit being a mother into such an extraordinary career?
Well, I had my daughter when, let me think about, I have to go back to the last century. I was between Lancôme and Tiffany, and I had my daughter, and I have to say, she is her own person. I left Tiffany to have my daughter because I didn't want to be one of those moms who was going to be out and about at work and leave her, to the babysitter. So I made a conscious decision to, at that time, start my company, which I called Centerprises, from home, Cent and Enterprises, Centerprises. And I started my consulting company because I wanted to be at home with her, but I didn't want to give up my work. So I felt that that was the best of 2 worlds. And I would be putting business plans together, and I'd have her on the table when she was an infant, rocking backwards and forwards. But I was there with her, and she was there with me, and I was doing my work. And over the years, she saw that I was working, and she went to a girls' school, and then she went to boarding school, and then she went to the Peace Corps in Moldova. She was there for 2 years, and then she got a Fulbright scholarship to go to Bucharest. And sadly, she's now living in Europe. She doesn't come back to America that often. But what I'm so proud of is that I taught her to be her own person. Even though when I was married, her father was a sort of a big giant in the corporate world, the CEO of this and the CEO of that. And, at one point he said, well, we're having 10 people for dinner tomorrow night. I said, tomorrow night we're having 10 people for dinner? I said, well, I have work and I have meetings. He said, well, just cancel the meetings. And from the tip of my toe to the top of my head, I said, you know what? You cancel your meetings. If it's going to be a business dinner for your colleagues, you cancel your dinner and we can both do it together. I don't know where I got the courage to do that. coming from South Africa, women were a little bit reticent, were not very forthcoming, but I think America sort of rubbed off on me.
Now you're speaking my language.
And I just felt, why should I cancel my meetings for his clients? And so she heard all that. And so she's really become her own person. And now she travels around the world doing training seminars and leadership training and so on. So how did I tie it in and fit her in? I think certainly by action and by leadership and by example, that I wasn't going to be trod on, and still be a wife, still be a mother, still be a homemaker, but still have my own endeavors. And to me, that's really important for everybody.
What would you say one of the biggest struggles has been throughout your entire journey?
I think not probably being further along than I am. Now, if that means in terms of volume, what is the metric for success? Is it millions? Is it billions? I don't know. And I feel that it would be, I think, had I not been such an entrepreneur, and I call myself a centrepreneur with cent, if I had not been such an entrepreneur, I might have let go a little bit more and given over the reins to people to really help me build my business and my company. But you can't go back. Where we are is where we are. And I feel that now, as I said, I'm just beginning and things are happening. So I'm taking all my experience and now meeting people who can help me in various areas where I just don't have that expertise, operations, finance. I used to do that at Tiffany. We used to have business, operations and finance meetings every week. And I was at the executive VP and I would lead the meetings, but the people in finance and operations would be, presenting. And I would look at it from an overall standpoint. Well, now I'm the chief cook and bottle washer. I do everything. And sometimes some of these things I don't do very well. So now I'm happy that things are opening up where I can hire people. So I think a challenge for me would have been being able to hire people, being able to hire the right people. Because again, as an entrepreneur, it's so hard to let go.
It is.
It's very hard to let go. And there's also a feeling of, this, I built this up over 20, 30 something years. I don't want people coming in, changing everything just because they're a new mindset and then leaving me 6 months later in chaos. So I don't let go very easily.
I think I can relate to that. So She Rises Studios is only 3 years old. We started it mid-pandemic. I started it with my daughter. Wonderful. And the vision that we have is, part of me sits and thinks, wow, how did we do that? Because honestly, the story there is almost surreal. Yeah. So here we are almost 3 years later, and we have a team of, I think it's 19 or 20.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
We opened up a publishing, we opened up public relations, all these different, divisions of She Rises Studios. But really the honesty behind it all was we saw a need. When the pandemic hit, we just saw so many different things happening for women. Either they were becoming the breadwinner or their spouses were walking away from stress. There was such a different combination happening all at one time. And I thought, what could we do? What could we do to change what's happening?
Yeah.
How do we inspire, but how do we also stay inspired?
Right.
So we create She Rises Studios. And then throughout the vision, I wanted to just hold on. I didn't want to let go. My daughter's the one who actually took the leap of faith and hired our first employee. And I thought, that's not going to work. Because nobody sees.
It's very scary. It's like, opening up your whole life to a stranger.
And nobody sees the vision the same way you do,
right. Exactly.
But the truth is that we wouldn't be where we are today had she not.
Right.
I have to say her, because that was not me. Yeah. I walked in fear for the first 5 employees, I think. And then I saw, wow, it's easier when you're working on your business sometimes versus working in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you get to see both perspectives. But the truth be told, no one will ever see it how you do. No one will ever have the same vision, because that vision and that passion you have is imprinted on your heart, not someone else's.
But how wonderful and fortuitous that your daughter came into your business with you. So not only did you have a support system, but you also had a different sort of mindset, a younger mindset who has a different perspective than you. See, my daughter disappeared. She went to the Peace Corps, and she, she didn't come back. So
it's funny because when people see mother-daughter, they call us the mother-daughter duo. And some people will either take it very seriously as, well, these two women are serious business owners, or they don't. I think there's that, it's either one or the other. But the truth is that the best part of all of this is building the legacy, because I'm a grandmother too.
Wow.
And so not only do I get to see my children grow within the business we created, but this is something that my grandchildren will have to look forward to. But this is what you're doing as well. You've created this legacy.
There also has to come a time when you have to own who you are. And, and it's also a cultural shift. So growing up in South Africa, we were never able to talk about anything. You weren't able to talk about sex, finance, politics, religion, race. So you talked about the weather. And you couldn't talk about your abilities because you didn't want to brag. So when people asked you, if you just won a major award, okay, thank you. A friend of mine was the CEO of a major company. And when he got to Australia, they said, well, who are you? What are you doing? Well, I ran a shop. I was a shopping manager, CEO of a major company. So we grew up with that notion of not extolling your virtues. And yet in America, everybody tells you in 2 seconds who they are, what they are, how much money they've had, where they've been, how many awards they've had. And it's interesting that for the first time now, after I had that call from the person in Dubai who said, they think I could be a brand, it's been resonating with me. And now it's really germinating in my brain. Yes, all the things that I've done over the years and all the lessons I've taught and articles I've written and my philosophy about things and my passion for what I do, I think, hey, I'm allowed to say
absolutely.
I'm all right, and I want to leave this legacy.
I think I wouldn't have put it better myself. Thank you for having us here today.
May I give you a hug?
Oh, yes. I love hugs. I am a hugger. So much of a hugger.
Thank you.
Everyone should experience this. I just want you to know I'm awake now.
That's good.
It's scent therapy.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine going in there, though, and
do something?
Yeah, I mean,
it would be so wonderful. Actually, they would probably enjoy it. The guys would enjoy it because they're running around all day long, and I'm sure they get hot and bothered, and they probably bothered.